Okay, today we're going to do Eureka Math, lesson 1.5, that means module 1, lesson 5. And your learning goal says, I can use what I know about place value to name decimals in expanded form. Have we done expanded form before?
Yes.
Word form, have we done word form before? How about unit form? Have we done unit form before? Have we? That first week when we were doing math, did we talk about unit form? No, we talked about standard form, but we didn't talk about unit form. So that one will be new to you. We'll talk about that today. In your math notebook, go ahead and write this word down. 300,047. Go ahead and write that down. Now, we've learned back in the very first week of school, we learned how we can put this into standard form. Standard form is just written with numbers. Go ahead and see if you can test yourself and write that word form into standard form. Go ahead and write the numbers down. Your standard form should look like that, 300,047. Now, we also know how to write expanded form. See if you can test yourself. Remember, expanded form is when you take each digit and you tell me the value of that digit. So the first digit is 3. Well, the 3 is in what place value? It's in the 100,000. So we have 3 copies of 100,000. What's the next digit we have that has value? 4, because the zeros don't have any value. The 4 is in what place? So we have 4 copies of the tens. Finally, I have a 7, and I know the 7 is in the ones place. I'm going to write 7 copies of the ones. Don't forget, when we're writing expanded form, we need to show that we're adding it all together. Each digit is being added together. Now, next we have the new form that we haven't talked about yet. So let's write down the definition. Unit form is a form that tells us how many of each size unit are in the number. So what's interesting about unit form is it's related to expanded form, but it's also kind of different. Okay? What's also interesting about unit form is there's lots of different answers. There's not just one correct unit form. For example, I could say, well, in this number, I have 300 thousands. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Is this 300 thousands? Yeah. Is it also 30 10,000s? Yeah. Is it also 300 thousands?
Yeah.
Okay. What about this part? What about the 47? We could call that 47 whats? Couldn't we? Yeah, we could call it 47 ones. Could we also call it 4 tens? And 7 ones? So unit form is just looking at the different digits and figuring out different ways you can group it. What if I wanted to group it like this? What number is that? 3,000, but then it's 3,000 whats? What place value is that? So I could say it's 3,000 hundreds. See how that works? Or what if I wanted to group it like this? What number do I have there? I have 30,004, right? 30,004 whats? What place value is this in? Tens. Let's see how we can expand this to include decimals. We already know how to write all these different forms using whole numbers, but in 5th grade we have to talk about decimals, okay? So there's kind of 4 steps that you can just follow, okay? How to name a decimal in word form? Well, first step, you just name the whole number part, okay? So let's take this one as an example. Let's use this number as an example. Is there a whole number part and a decimal part? Yes. What's the whole number part? 16. That's your first step. Okay, so we call this 16. Then for step 2, if there's a decimal point, when you ever see a decimal point in math, the word form is and. Is there a decimal point? Yes. Okay, so what do we call this part here? 16. How do we say this part? And. So far, we're done with steps 1 and 2. 16 and. Then for step 3, you name the digits in the decimal places. What digit is that? 8. Altogether, that's an 8, right? Okay, so far, step 1. 16 and step 3, 8. And then you say the rightmost place value position. Is this your rightmost number? What place value is that 8 in? 10. So altogether, 4 steps. 16 and 8 tenths. You got it. So step 1, we would first look at the whole number part. We know the number is 942. Step 2, Charlotte, what do we call this decimal point? What do we say? And. So step 2, we have 942 and Aradhana. Step 3, we look at what number is in the decimal. If you just look at the decimal part, what number do you see there? Huh?
We look at the decimal.
In the decimals, what number do you see?
0 and
0 and 1 and 2. Altogether, what number do you see? 12, right? So step 1, 942. Step 2, and step 3, 12. And then step 4, we look at the rightmost place. What place value is that, Aradhana?
That is in the ones place.
Is the 2 in the ones place?
No, it's in the tens place.
Don't guess. What place value is that 2 in? If you don't know, look at your place value chart in your notes. Joseph? Thousands. So let's put all 4 steps together. Step 1, what is this? Step 2? Step 3? Step 4? Very good. I want to show you how you can use the place value chart to help you, okay? Lots of you will benefit from this. So if this is my decimal point here, this column right here is what place value? Tenths. What is this one? And now my 7 is in the thousands. So by using a place value chart, I can put the 7 in the thousands, and it tells me where I need to put the zeros. Okay, so that's the standard form. That's written as a decimal numeral, 7 thousandths. Now for question number 2, it says 823 and 5 tenths. We already know right off the bat the word and means what? Decimal point. Whenever I'm working with decimals, I like to think of in 2 parts, the whole number part and the decimal part. The word and tells me where I can separate the whole number part from the decimal part. Okay, now that I know that the and is right there, what's the whole number part? 823. Can we write that number in standard form?
Yes.
Go ahead and write it down. 823 is simply 823. Okay, now let me look at what comes after the decimal point. 5 tenths. Okay, well it tells me I have a 5 and it needs to be in what place value?
Tenths.
And that's the one right after the place value. So my standard form, or decimal numerals, is 823.5. See how this works? Try the next one. So be careful with number 4. That's wrong. If I want 37 to end, it tells me I want to end it in the thousands place. I need to use a place value chart to help me. Okay? If I want this 7 to be in the thousands place, that means this is the what's place. That means this is the what's place. Which means this is where my decimal point needs to go. I'm going to say this one more time. Using a place value chart will really help you not make careless mistakes.